Hello, world, and welcome to another exciting edition of the program Ashford Garley Live on British Radio Africa. Today is December the 21st, 2022, and folks, it feels great to be back home. We are coming to you live from Lansdowne, PA. As always, Father God, we give you depth of gratitude. Thanks for the gift of life, the gift of good health, the gift of wisdom, the gift of divine strength. With that, I want to thank you, then thank you. Blessed be your holy name forever. Thank you. Well, folks, by way of introduction, this is yours truly, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion, the doctor of love, the mastermind, Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire, the golden voice of Liberia, the medicine of the microphone, yours truly. Now you know me, Garley. I'm Ashford Garley, y'all. Welcome to the show. At this time, I say welcome to Mr. Raymond Clark, Joshua Peel, Edwin Freeman, Jehovah Favor Podman. I also see the Linen, Elizabeth Brown. How are you? Massa Ricks. I hope you all are doing fine tonight. Welcome to the show. We are going to have fun tonight. As always, I'd like to introduce to you Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts out of New Jersey. Letty, hello and welcome to the show.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Garley. How are you?
I'm better than good, better than most. To God be the glory.
Awesome. How was your day?
Day was fantastic. Had a very productive day today, and we give God the praise.
Amen. Well, we want to say good evening to all of our guests, all of our patrons, all those watching in cyberspace. Welcome to another exciting edition of Bridge Radio Africa with your host, Ashford, the Giant Garley. We are coming live to you from Bridge Television, also via Bridge Radio Africa YouTube channel. We are coming to you through our Instagram page, bridgeradioafrica.com. We ask you to please grab a snack of choice, a meal of choice, or drink of choice. I am your co-host, Letty Brooks Roberts. Here are a few house rules. Please be respectful of each other. Please be respectful of the host. Most importantly, please be respectful of our guests. What you write is just as important as what you say. So we ask you to please make yourselves comfortable, share the broadcast as we bring to you our special guest. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Garley.
Thank you, Mrs. Roberts. And of course, again, we've got lots of goodies in store for you. And just in case you're celebrating your special day today, a birthday, we'd like to say congratulations. And let us sure hope that you live to see many more birthdays to come. Speaking of birthdays, I'd like to say congratulations and happy belated birthday to my sister and friend, Mrs. Sarah P. Moore Julie. She celebrated yesterday. Congratulations, Sarah. And I'm pretty sure you had a blast yesterday. At this time, we'd like to introduce to you our special guest. And speaking of our special guest, the name is TUPEE SOBEN.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Mr. Ashford. And thank you so much, Mrs. Roberts.
Well, TUPEE SOBEN, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah. Well, like you said, TUPEE SOBEN. Uh-huh. I've been in the US for many years. I've been here for over 30 years. Worked my way up through the system. I was able to obtain a bachelor degree in criminal justice. I worked in law enforcement for many years. I transitioned over from law enforcement. I went into social work, mental health field. I'm currently working as a counselor, as a mental health counselor. I've been doing that for, I believe, 2 years, 2.5 years now, almost 3 years.
SOBEN, what is the origin of that name, SOBEN?
Well, thank you for asking. I will leave that up. I know most of my family members from Liberia are watching. My father is a Bassa man. So
Okay.
I will leave that. The people back home that's listening to this, they can definitely answer that. Like I said, I've been in the US for so many years, and I can't tell you exactly what that SOBEN stand for, but I can tell you, according to my father, what TUPEE stand for.
Okay. What brings you to Breach Radio Africa tonight?
Okay, this is a very, very serious subject. Very serious to my heart. Dear, this to my heart. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this, um, I've been here for many years, and I feel sad and concerned about some of the things that are going on back home. It's concerning. As a social worker, as a mental health counselor, I'm talking to people 24/7 that has severe trauma. I'm interacting with them. I'm helping them. I'm providing for them. I'm doing counseling, whatever you want to call it. I'm helping them out to deal with the trauma they experienced. And then to listen to people back home going through trauma and going through things, and then hearing about our leaders back home not helping those individuals, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. So when I hear about certain things going on back home, I try my hardest to get involved. I contribute. I do whatever I can to help people back home.
Now, speaking of breaking your heart, one of your concerns here is about this gentleman that wants to be representative for District 8,
Yes.
Montserrat County in Liberia,
Yes.
ALVIN T. PENNUE. And your campaign, one of your campaign messages is that do not vote for him. He's not fit to be a representative in Liberia. What was that?
That's correct. That is 1,000% correct. This is so dear to my heart. I do my best to stay out of politics beyond voting in the US and things like that, encouraging my kids to vote. I do my best to stay out of politics. It's so concerning to listen to Liberians in Indiana, because I interact with them a lot in Indiana. encourage someone who we know for a fact, who they know for a fact is not qualified to lead our country. You know, these individuals here, they live in a safe environment. They have 3 meals to eat. They have a vehicle they can drive to work. They have safe drinking water. They can go to the doctor anytime they want. They can freedom of speech. They can do whatever they want. People back home don't have the opportunities. So if we see leaders trying to go back home to run for office, and we know that person, we know that individual on a personal level, and we know that person is not qualified, what are we doing? What are we doing? I love how Liberians talk about, you know, like I said, I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. I love what I do. You know, I love how Liberian all day, Josh, we are this, Josh, we are that. But we have people in our community. For a fact, we know Mr. PENNUE, and I've told people this. I don't hate Mr. PENNUE. I have nothing personal against Mr. PENNUE. Mr. PENNUE, I was personal with, we're good friends. We were good friends. Again, my background is in law enforcement. We could be friends. When you're doing wrong, I need to be able to speak up. If I'm doing wrong, I want someone to speak up. I am not jealous of him. You know, people, oh, you jealous. Oh, you are ex-Jew. No, I know my worth. I'm not his ex-girlfriend. I'm not an angry girlfriend. I know my worth, right? So all of those things does not add up. Why am I going after this individual?
So what is it that you have, excuse me, what is it that you have against Mr. PENNUE, which to you, you're saying he's not qualified?
Right.
What do you have against him? What makes
so
you he's not qualified?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ashford, for that question. So I understand we don't have no qualifications to be a elected official in Liberia, right? That's clear. We don't need to be, we don't need to have a huge resume. We don't have to be overly educated. We don't have to do none of those things, right? We all agree to that. We all understand that. Nothing, again, if that's something you want to do, that's fine. Okay, but let me get down to your question. Mr. PENNUE came into the US in 2008. 2008. Okay. I mean, most people at that age, you don't know exactly what you want to do. So when you get here, you're working hard, you're trying to, get used to the system. But when Mr. PENNUE got here, he became his criminal activities. Mr. PENNUE was arrested for 419 black money scam. He was arrested. And when I say arrested, not one time where you say, okay, I make mistakes. I want to learn from this mistake and change and do better. He was actually arrested twice. Twice. You can look at, you can go and Google it. I'm not making up. I don't have to make these things up. My safety is in jeopardy just by speaking up against this individual. Why would I want to speak up against someone that I was friends with? Because sometimes in order for our country to develop, we have to start speaking up. We are in a quote-unquote developed country. We have safety. We have everything. And we're friends with people that are going back home telling us they're going to run for office. And we're encouraging them. But let me get back to your question, okay? So Mr. PENNUE was arrested. He did his time. He did his time. Like I told you, my background, I started my career as a police officer, pretty much a detective. Deputy. I started up. When I started, I worked in the jail, Marion County Jail, one of the hardest, difficult, challenging jail to work in. I did 5 years in there. While working in there, I knew I wanted to do better. I knew I wanted better for myself. Okay. So I told myself, I said, no, this is not what I want to be. I saw inmates coming in and out, repeated. We have repeated inmates that would go and come back. I wanted to do better for those individuals. I told myself, I said, well, I can't stay in this environment and try to help people. I applied to the state. I did parole for the state of Indiana for 2 years. Why doing parole? We give inmates second chance to society to come and contribute to society. ALVIN had second chance to contribute to society. What did he do with that second, third, fourth chances? Absolutely nothing. I don't understand why Liberians in Indiana are asking me to give him a second chance. The man came out the first time. He went back in the second time. Okay, he did his time. He did his 30-something months, 20 months prison sentence. We understand that, right? He got out. He paid his restitutions. He was on supervised visitation, supervised visit, meaning he had federal parole person, individual watching, supervising him, making sure he was following the rules and regulations in the U.S. He did that. That's fine. That's wonderful. I encourage that. I cherish that. I worked with inmates, meaning what? I help them find jobs in the community. I help them open businesses. I contact local businesses and help them get jobs, right? Because we want to change in that person. Ivan did none of those things. When that individual came out of prison, you know our Liberian people. They're telling me, give the man a second chance. You're looking for attention. I'm 40-something years old. Do I need attention from Ivan or from the community? Absolutely not. They're toxic, right? So I'm telling myself, this man going back home to run for office. He came from prison. Liberians in Indiana made this man president of Indiana Association. He was a president. Wow, president of Indiana Association. We're talking about change. Give him a chance. You think that man will stop the 419? This man used the organization address to do his corrupt business. It was like a scam going on in the organization. And Liberians in Indiana don't get it. They won't speak up. I understand they're afraid. I'm afraid. But don't attack me. I mean, I have messages in my inbox, mostly positive, telling me what I'm doing is great. I need to keep it up. I need to speak. We need to develop Liberia. We need to do this. I mean, I'm happy to do that. Most people are afraid, right? So this man had this opportunity. They made him president of Indiana Association. Mr. PENNUE, that was an opportunity to at least learn something, learn some trade, do something positive beyond being a Indiana president, association of the president of Indiana. Do something positive. He did absolutely nothing positive. You know, someone, one of the person in the community told me, Alvin donated $20,000 to the Liberian Association. I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Did he have a job? He had a job when he came out of prison? Do you know where that money came from? How dare you even mention that? He donated $20,000. He wasn't employed. He never filed taxes. This man worked in the U.S. At least, maybe I'll give him 2 years. And that's the first, when he first got here. Beyond that, he never had a job. Okay? Not even a health insurance coverage. Okay? This man was evicted from his homes 3 times. 3 times. Could not afford his bills in the U.S. Shame on you in Indiana. And like I said, I know you were afraid to speak up. Don't come at me. Don't attack me. Look, I mentioned all that. I don't want to say his debt.
And for the record, I'm reading here, it says Indiana man sentenced to federal prison in black money scam. And it also went further to say Alvin PENNUE, 32 years of age, based out of Indiana, was sentenced to 21 months in federal prison for passing altered United States currency on 2 occasions. Right? Since what, 2013?
Yes.
Now, okay. He comes from prison.
Right.
He was rewarded
Yes.
the presidency of the Liberian community in India.
Yes. Yes.
You were once friends with this guy.
Exactly.
What went wrong?
Well, this is what I'm telling you, Mr. Ashford. There's absolutely nothing went wrong. I can't sit back and not speak up when something is wrong. Alvin is not qualified. Alvin is corrupt. Our country is bleeding. People are suffering. I should just lay back because I want perks, because I want him to go back to Liberia and be a representative. I can go to Liberia and enjoy the money. I work hard for my own money. People are suffering back home and here. I'm speaking up because he's not qualified. And I even told Alvin, I attempted to have a conversation with Alvin. That's how brave I am. I'm not afraid of the man. Right? I'm afraid to go back home because I know my safety is in jeopardy. Okay, but in the U.S., I'm not afraid. I wasn't afraid of him. I told him, I said, look, wanted to have a conversation. Oh, it's politics. It's politics. Leave it. I said, no, dude, it's not politics to me. I don't give a crap about politics. People are suffering. I work with people that are suffering every single day. Why would I want to be involved in politics and take money from people and do steals? I don't care about that. You know, I mentioned to you, I started my career in the jail, right? Mm-hmm. I had an opportunity of what? doing things that was illegal while working in the jail. People bribe you. Powerful inmates will bribe you. I had a gentleman that told me, all I want you to do is go pick up a letter from this address and take it to this address. We'll give you $10,000. I refused because I knew the consequences of it. Okay? ALVIN is not qualified. Indiana's not speaking up. They're attacking me. I'm not even talking about his personal business. This is, like you said, politics. This is not something he should be in office. He should run that poor district. Asking if he can even spell infrastructure. The man cannot read or write. Everybody complain about George Weah can't read. George Weah can't do this. But then they're supporting ALVIN. He cannot read or write. Half of the things on his website.
I communicated with ALVIN yesterday.
Right.
Informed him that you were going to be on the platform, and I also they called him the opportunity to come on here as well. And he agreed to appear at a later date. So again, I love my country so dearly. In fact, the district that we are speaking about, District 8, is where I come from.
Yeah.
You know, we need people of good caliber to go in our country and lead our country. You can't come here and do things that are all illegal and go back home. It's the same thing that happened with this guy who is in the race now to run for president. Cassell is allegedly involved into Medicare fraud, double building the U.S. government, and he takes his money, go to Liberia, and try to tell the people that he wants to run for office.
Yes.
If you don't live a very supportive life here, let people look at it and say, you know what, he did what he had to do in America. There are other people who live in America that claim work hard, because the thing is, as long as you're willing to work hard and play by the rules in America, sky is the limit.
Exactly.
Others who work hard.
Exactly.
Come, dupe people of their money and go to Liberia because of the illiteracy rate in our country, and you think you just rile on the people. This is just not so fair. So we're hearing now, and I see the evidence of him being convicted as a felon, and I also see the evidence.
I want to make it clear. You know, we have state prison and we have federal in the U.S.
Right.
So if you get convicted on a federal charges, it's not something you take lightly, right? That's something is high. It's higher. It's serious. He didn't get no convicted on state charges where it's a petty little crime. You know what he was doing was huge. You have federal agent doing an investigation on ALVIN, and we think that's a little thing. Okay, let me say something here. For example, someone asked me, you know, you got to be jealous. You got to do this. You know, we have a gentleman here in Indiana, Mr. Rufo Tati. You know, he's running for office also back home. You know, I wanted to be fair to let Indiana know I'm not going just after ALVIN. Those are people I keep in contact with. If they're doing something, I want to let Liberian people know of it when they're not qualified. So I took my time, like I did with ALVIN. I looked up Mr. Tati. Mr. Tati may have a terrible leadership when he was a president, but the only thing I could find on Mr. Tati was what? DUI, bunch of speeding tickets. I can't come and speak against that man saying, he's this and that. He shouldn't be called. He's not qualified because he has a DUI and speeding tickets compared to ALVIN. Federal conviction, right? And then now just one, but twice. He been evicted 3 times. Green card expired. Did not have a job when he got released from prison. Mr. Tati is working. I mean, again, people will tell you in the community, I'm not fond of Mr. Tati, but I gotta speak truth. He's working. If he goes back home and run, he wins. I wish him luck. If ALVIN wins, I would still sleep at night, because you know what? What God laid on my heart, I spoke up against it. I tell my patient 24/7 to speak up against wrong. And that's what I'm doing. I have to lead by example.
Speaking of leading by example, according to you, Mr. Tati, you looked him up.
I did.
At minor charges, but with the case of ALVIN is pretty much severe.
Exactly.
In terms of being in the felon, and
exactly
wants to go and lead our people in a very important district,
right?
In Liberia. Well, folks, if you're just joining us, this is Ashford Garley live on Bridge Radio Africa. Tonight we have with us Miss TUPEE SOBEN, a Liberian native based out of the state of Indiana, is our special guest tonight, and she's advocating against ALVIN PENNUE. And just in case you don't know who ALVIN PENNUE is, ALVIN PENNUE is the younger brother of Zoe PENNUE, who is now the senator of Grand County. He's also the son of the once notorious killer during the Samuel Doe regime, Harrison T. PENNUE. That's his son, and ALVIN wants to be representative in District 8, Montserrat County, Liberia. And Ms. SOBEN is on here saying Liberians should not make that mistake by electing him because he's unfit, he's not qualified to be representative. I got in contact with ALVIN, and ALVIN will appear when he's ready on the show. So what are Liberians in Indiana saying, Ms. SOBEN? Why are they saying?
I mean, these are some of them are educated individuals. It's a disgrace. I mean, like I said, I know people are afraid to speak up. I understand people are afraid to speak up, but don't attack Mr. Tati about his qualification of being a leader, and yet keep quiet and mute about ALVIN. It doesn't make sense. I just feel like something, you know. I don't know if it's severe mental health issues we have going on. It just doesn't make sense. This man cannot read and write. This man did not have a job in Indiana prior when he was released from prison. Okay, over 14 and plus years he's been here. Worked, I'll give him 2 years. He worked possibly for 2 years before he got arrested. Okay, 419 continued until he left. Mr. PENNUE had a court date. You have that information for eviction notice on November 3rd of last month. Eviction notice. And he packed up his things and ran to Liberia to go run for office. You couldn't even afford your bills here. Is something wrong with people telling me give him a second chance? Let me read something to you, Mr. Ashford. You know, I told you I love education. I'm actually, like I said, I have a master's degree in social work. By the grace of God, I'm planning on going to get my PhD. So education is important to me. I want to let Liberian people know the process of change. What change looks like when you're going through changes. What we need to see in someone. You know, for the first one, it's called pre-contemplation. What is pre-contemplation? The patient may not recognize the consequences of their actions. They haven't recognized the consequences of the action. If he did, he won't come out of prison and continue those behaviors. Did he recognize that? No. That's the first stage of change. That's the first stages of change. Just that one. Pre-contemplation. But people don't get it. What's the second one? Let me go to the second one. Contemplation. What you recognize that you did something wrong, but you're not sure. You're still debating if you should change or not. That's the second. Contemplation. The third one, preparation. Action, maintenance. He wasn't even in the pre-contemplation stage. Right? But we should give him a chance. Shame on you, Indiana. Shame on you. Give him a chance. Are you kidding me? You go back to Liberia and let those people back there that are suffering. And then they come here and you can give ALVIN all the chance he wants. You guys are out of your mind. You guys are delusional. Are you serious? I mean, I'm sorry. That's how passionate I am about this. You can hear the passion in my voice. I'm so upset and disappointed with people in Indiana. Like I said, if you're afraid, you don't have to speak up. Don't attack me. He couldn't even afford his rent. He can't even read. Everything online is a lie.
Ms. SOBEN, it is alleged that you had a personal relationship with ALVIN. Are you mad because he dumped you?
I told you that was gonna come out. That's what Liberians do, right? You know, that's what Liberians do. When you try to speak up against someone, they say, "Oh, that's your ex-boyfriend. That's your this." Like I said in the beginning, I know my worth. I've been here for over 30 years, right? I worked in law enforcement. Right now, I'm working in a school, right? ALVIN is not even close to being on my list, but I'm not going to debate that. That's one of the things they want to do to get my focus, to argue with them. Oh, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I'm not going to, that's not what I'm here. ALVIN, no, I never had an intimate relationship with him. They all know I didn't have an intimate relationship with Alvin, but because they don't have anything else to say, that's the only thing they have to say. I was intimate with Alvin. Alvin is not on my level. He cannot communicate. He cannot speak. I associate myself with Alvin because I wanted to know, right? I wanted to know why this whole Indiana was so fond of this person. Law enforcement, you want to know something. I wanted to know why the whole Indiana was so fond of this one person. I wanted to know because he was corrupt, because he was paying people to hush. They know. Alvin knows I never had an intimate relationship with him, so I don't want to get off topics. Those are the things they were posting on their website, but I'm gonna stay focused because it's so important for us to let Liberians back home know. If you elect this man as your representative, you will stay the same way and even worse. He will steal from you and he will not be held accountable. There's zero accountability in Liberia. Yeah, in the US, the government held him accountable. So if you guys want to elect Alvin, at least I would sleep at night knowing I speak up. So that's what I want to do.
Why do we glorify criminals?
Why
Liberia glorifies criminals? I mean,
it's fear.
I'm not making this up. Looking at the record here, this man was convicted by the federal government on 2 counts of federal charges. He was sentenced to prison for 21 months. He gets out and he was monitored for several years. He had to restitute some of the money that he allegedly stole.
So it's not allegedly, it's a fact because he was convicted, right? Sorry.
That he stole from the people. I mean, he was asked to restitute the money. They've seen records yet, and it's not only unique to you. Looking at record, he was evicted 3 times. This man he couldn't even afford his own rent in America. He leaves with expired green card, goes to Liberia,
right,
and wants to run as representative. He's not the only person.
Yes.
The people just see Liberia. This is one of the things that pisses me off. I can care less about tribe or class or whatsoever. Liberia is my guy. The people of Liberia are my people.
Exactly.
That's why I don't support any political party. I don't support corrupt people. I don't support criminals. When you want to run for office, make sure you are clean.
Exactly.
Why are they taking Liberia to be?
Right.
Right. Why is this like this, TUPEE?
That's a good question. That's what one of the things I would love to do when I go back and get my PhD. I would really love to pursue that and at least do research on that and see what is going on. I think it's due to lack of education back home. You can bribe anyone nowadays to do certain things. Like I read, SOBEN paid people. He had people with false IDs. One of the reasons why he won his election. There's a huge possibility Alvin may win, right? Because he's corrupt. His family's corrupt, right? But at the end of the day, someone spoke up against this man. At least, I want to give people out there that's afraid.
So Ms. SOBEN, because you're in law enforcement, so you just go on spying on Liberians. If you were not intimate with this guy, why you know so much information on this guy?
Like I told you, my background is in law enforcement, right? I wasn't intimate with Mr. Tati, and I looked him up too because, again, he's going back home. He's going to run for office. So I needed to know if this man at least meet some type of qualifications, right? So I can bring awareness to the Liberian people. I mean, like I said, I can name how many Liberians got DUI. That's minor offense. You did that. That was one time, and he paid restitution. He paid the coach. He did that. He moved on. He's been clean. He's living in his house. He's paying his mortgage, right? And he's still working. He's raising his family. Again, I'm not fond of that individual. I'm not fond of him. Let me speak Liberian English. I don't like that man, Mr. Tati. I can't stand him, right? I don't like him. But I have to be honest. I can't be a hypocrite. I can't be here yelling about Alvin and not saying anything about Tati. If Tati was wrong, I'll be doing the same thing.
I don't know how many Liberians in Indiana are thinking the same way you are thinking. It said you don't hang around a community. You live in the suburbs, and what are you afraid of? Why you don't hang around them?
Unfortunately, people that know our Liberians, they know they're very toxic, right? I mean, mental health. My mental health is important to me. If I got to work with clients that have severe trauma 24/7, 5 days a week, I also work in a mental hospital. I can't be around constant toxic. I can't be around that environment. I don't want to hear who man you're sleeping with, who you're not sleeping with, who you're fighting, and who you're doing this. Like I said, I put myself in that environment because I wanted to know why Liberian was so fond of ALVIN. What was about this man? The whole community bow down and worship. Is it because his family's back home?
Hold on.
I needed to know.
Hold on. ASIC, VAFI, this is not one of those platforms where you come and insult people. I'm going to block you for that. Sometimes you give people a first and second chance, but you don't come here and insult, especially being very vocal. I won't tolerate that, okay? I'm going to block you. Nonsense.
That's some of the things I've been experiencing in the community. I mean, it hasn't been insults, but I was threatened. I would get cussed off if I keep speaking and this and that. Again, I mean, that's some of the things you experience when you start speaking up. People are afraid to speak up because of behavior like that. So, I mean, we are where we are. I would keep speaking up. Like I told everyone in the community in Indiana, I would continue to speak up against Mr. PENNUE. Mr. PENNUE is not qualified. Mr. PENNUE, I think I gave you several of his bills where he left. He owed creditors, right? So, I mean, people don't get that. How can we, people back home, how can you guys elect this man that was in one of the best country?
Well, we have 22 minutes to go. I think we would do our audience a favor by trying to open up the telephone line.
Yes.
And so they can call in and weigh in as well. The telephone number of the call is 267-248-5295. Please be respectful and be very brief with your calls. Again, the telephone number of the call is 267-240-5295. We have a caller on the line, and hello, caller. 240-5. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Garley.
Tell us your name, sir.
Yeah, my name is Lucien, calling from PA.
Okay. What is your
question? Mr. Garley, thank you. Mr. Garley, I want to say thank you for the show, and I want to say thanks to your studio guest. I want to appreciate her good gesture towards our country. You know, Mr. Garley, that is sad, like just what you were saying, that Liberians will continue to take advantage of their own country.
Yes.
You know, being in this country is like an opportunity. It's like a blessing to us that came from Africa, in a sense that we should prepare ourselves and be faithful and truthful to ourselves. So even if we want to return back to our country, we should go back with honesty. But like just what you said, Mr. Garley, like people like the guy from New Jersey, Daniel Cassell, you know, the young people of our country, what is the integrity that the young people will be able to see from these people? Especially that the notion in Africa, Mr. Garley, that people that from America, they are so better, they know everything, they incline. And then look at what some of these things that Liberians are doing to their own people.
Yes.
You here in America that cannot even afford for yourself better. How well will you be able to afford for the people that you want to represent?
Exactly.
That type of character. It is sad. And because of our society, women doesn't have the voice. That's why people like her, when they come to pour their voice out, people will come to try to insult. But I just want to say bravo to her for her braveness. And she should just encourage continue to do what she do, that they will be in the interest of our country. And I just want to say I'm proud of her. And I want to say thanks for the show, for educating all of us, Mr. Garley. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'd like to say hi to Mrs. Ruben Famous Added. Let us show hope you're having a great time tonight. We'd also like to say hi to Johnson Telewian, Mom Becky, last son, Dave Coley, and old boy Johnson. We'd also like to say hi to Naomi Tano Nicklin. Well, to your credit, Miss SOBEN, somebody just called and applauded you for the task you've undertaken. Most of our sisters will just see these things go on; they won't say anything.
Exactly.
And I'm pretty sure you and you are also on the TikTok. I mean, you're on a big campaign with this movement.
I am.
ALVIN PENNUE from winning.
Yes, I am. I mean, you know, like I said, this is so dear to my heart. It's so serious. Um, he had an opportunity to better himself, learn a trade, do something, go back home and help our people back home. Our people should not be your future success, right? You shouldn't go back home and your goal is to be corrupt and steal from innocent people. You were in a country where you had so many opportunities and you did absolutely nothing with that. Now Liberians are rewarding you.
Okay, we want to go back to the telephone line. Hello, caller.
Hi, Mr. Garley. How are you?
Tell us your name, please.
I'm Rebecca calling from North Dakota.
Hey, Rebecca, how you doing? It's been a long time. How's everything?
Yes, sir. I'm doing all right, brother. Everything
How's the
okay?
kids? How's the grandkids and everything?
Oh, they are all getting big. Everybody doing great.
Okay, go
And
ahead.
I just calling to say thank you to your guests for appearing to speak the truth. We need more sisters like you. I'll say the same thing over and over, and all they say that the only thing they usually say, y'all hate your own people.
Yes. Yeah.
We came here to open our eyes so we can go back home and teach the other people. But when we come here, we still act the same way. We go back and tell the people the same thing that we left there. What kind of change are we bringing?
Yes.
So I applaud you, sister. I tell you, thank you for speaking up. Now I'm going to go for our own community because of the situation like that. Look at that kind of thing. For you to come on the show to address, you know, the issue where you are saying how you think or how you feel about it, but look at you cussing. That's how they act. They will curse you. They will call you all type of names.
Yep. Those are the things I've been experiencing in the community. People are attacking me, his supporters, and these are educated individuals. It's just so sad to see people. You have a safe place every night you go to bed, and people back home is not safe. You don't want that for them.
Hold that thought, Miss
Yes.
and Miss Rebecca. We apologize for the little brief miss there in the call. I think we'll have another call on the line at this time. Is a caller from Indiana, the state where you.
Yes.
There's a 317 number. Tell us your name. Tell us your name and.
Thank you, Mr. Garley. My name is Emmanuel Fetri. I'm a resident of Indiana.
Okay.
I just came over, to go through the show in a long time. My point is that I know the lady very well. I think she and myself work at the same pressing company she actually is referring to.
Okay.
And I've seen Mr. ALVIN PENNUE and this lady all in the community together. They were best of friends.
Okay.
Yes.
But let me just provide some clarity with the information she just provided, more especially with the pressing company.
Mm-hmm.
This later information she submitted to you, I wish if I can see it, I'll be able to provide some of the interpretation on that document she sent to you. It was a made-up story that they didn't prepare. And even I saw while she was fired from that prison company.
Excuse me, excuse me, sir. If you Google ALVIN's name, that we have it, it was not made up.
So you're speaking to a security officer. I worked with her before.
Okay.
So you got to listen, give me the time, please. Okay. I just came for work. Somebody sent this to me, say she was on the show, and I've been following her on Facebook.
Before you continue, sir, I wasn't a security officer. I was a deputy, sir.
Hold on, sir. You just have 2 more minutes. We have several other callers on the line. If you want to engage us, you can schedule the time to come on the air.
That person company she's talking about, ALVIN had never been there. This lady was fired from that person company because she had a bad attitude. This lady she was caught. She was caught. That's why they fired her. And ALVIN have a serious situation that probably she wants for people to know. Also, let me just scenario that the lady was loving to ALVIN PENNUE, two best friends at the same time. But ALVIN looked at her and told her, this can't happen. You need to stop this. She refused, and ALVIN told his friend, one of his friends, who she was really in love with, and this guy ended the relationship with her. That's how she started to move all over, including ALVIN. Started to see a lot of things about ALVIN. So I hate about ALVIN. It's not today's thing. It's not just time. Okay. It's not a long time.
Excuse me, sir. Quick question.
It cannot work.
Quick question.
And also,
hold on, sir. Hold on 1 minute, sir. Listen to me, sir. Sir, listen. Are you disputing that ALVIN was not sentenced to federal jail? Are you disputing that?
That information is erroneous. That's why I was constrained to call to make that clarity.
Are you saying that Alvin was not sentenced to federal jail for 21 months? Are you saying you want to dispute that?
Sir, I provide for the kind of individual who even providing the information. She's fake.
This is not an individual. I searched the individual.
I'm telling you.
We sing together. We don't talk together. Enough of what
you see, that's some of the things I've been going through in the community here.
I have 2 more callers on the line. It's a 423 number. Hello, caller.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Ashford Garley?
Tell us your name.
This is James. No one calling from state of Connecticut.
Okay, go ahead with your statement, sir.
I just want to comment, your studio guest, Madam SOBEN. You know, it is very hard when it comes to speaking truth to power. It is very hard, for many Liberians to unearth the truth. They don't want to hear it, but I think she has stepped forward today to provide credible information to and the Liberians across the globe to understand who this individual is. Let us be honest. America is a country that you cannot have character like criminal activities and so forth.
Right.
Right now, when the name was pronounced, ALVIN PENNUE, we all have smartphones. I went on Google and the information is there. So this gentleman who just called previously before me, I don't know why he wanted to defend. Those are reasons Liberia does not have a better fabric when it comes to, governance system. Why would we want to make a story when somebody is wrong, is wrong?
Right.
I'm a criminal justice practitioner from Monroe College in New York.
Yeah.
All right. There is a contributor to criminal justice.
Right.
The reason of restorative justice is to shame the criminal and let him take responsibility of his wrongdoing,
and
then accept the fact and have
people are going on Google
and
reposting the
those are
conviction.
things that I think we who see we are Liberian citizens should be doing by now. If you are not in better standing with society, norms and volume, you can't lead off.
Thank you, sir.
You can't lead off.
Thank you, sir.
You can't.
Thank you.
When you're a female, they accuse you of sleeping with an individual. Those are the kind of things I've been going through.
267 number. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mr. Garley.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us your name, please.
Hi, Mr. Garley. It's a pleasure calling on your show tonight. I'm Jonathan Wongwe.
Okay.
Calling from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just moved to call on your show from the brother who just called, claiming to be a security personnel,
right,
and talking to the sister on the show. That's very disgraceful as a man.
Yes.
Even call. Are we not happy as a Liberian for a sister to even come and bring her ex-boyfriend, complain to us and telling us that he's not the rightful person or he's not ready to school to go back home to be able to leave?
So that's the mindset we have of Liberian. That's the mindset. Yeah.
Or rather call and denigrate this lady. It's so shameful as a brother. I advise that he shouldn't even be quiet to be saying that. Because I don't think he came with real men face or men say.
Thank you.
So, sister, it's a pleasure for you coming on the show. I will acknowledge that. I can tell people I just came from Liberia. I just came from back home, something like 3 years ago, and just come here to see a lot of opportunity here. Come here and not putting it to use and utilizing it, going back home and just doing the same old thing like the bro.
Thanks for your contribution, sir. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. We have a 763 number. Hello, caller.
Hey, Ashford. How you doing? How you doing, my sister in studio? My name is CC Goya. I'm calling from Minnesota.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, I wasn't going to call. I was listening. I do know ALVIN in passing. I'm an analyst on LPR. So him and I have been in some exchanges of communication. He's been sending me his campaign videos and stuff. I didn't know a whole lot about him. So I was actually leaning towards supporting him, just because I see a young man living in the U.S. and I've been working in the diaspora to try to take back what he knows in the diaspora to help Liberia was my first understanding. And so when I seen this lady on your show came, I've been watching it. I really was not my intent to call, but I had a call because of the last fellow. I know everybody's beating him to death already, but I don't know the sister in studio. First of all, let me say to you, my sister, I know you've worked with misogyny in our Liberian community. That is very toxic. It's there because his attack on you was uncalled for. Your character is not what we're looking at here today. You're not running for anything. You're not running for public office. The fellow who's running for public office is the person who is supposed to be scrutinized. And you know, I would care less if this information came from, excuse the language, a prostitute on the street. Is the information credible? Because I too just checked, went online, did extensive check with his name, and I saw all of the information. So are we here trying to discuss the validity of a federal documentation? Or are we here to discuss whether or not ALVIN is actually pay is due to society and whether you fit to run in Liberia? And I appreciate it, sister. Thank you so much for your bravery. I think these are things we need to be doing for our Liberian people. We want to make sure we let them know who they're trying to elect. And I'm going to reach out to ALVIN to make sure he answers some questions. And I appreciate your time.
And also, sir, I also have proof of all his eviction notices.
Say that again?
Sir, I also have proof of all his eviction notices.
Right. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Did you hear me? I also have proof of all his eviction notices. It's not something I made up. I can't create those documents. Okay, those documents is not online. That's something I got on a personal level, but I have proof of all his evictions notices, all his debts.
Thanks, Miss.
So, but it's okay.
We have a 401 number. Hello?
Hello?
401 number. Tell us your name, please.
Yes, hi, Ashford. My name is Tina.
Tina, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Tina and I used to hang out with ALVIN buddies.
Just like some insight on, I didn't quite catch the whole outcome of the show, but just to talk on ALVIN's part. ALVIN is not running away from anything.
Miss Tina?
Yes. ALVIN is not running away from whatever situation that is here. I've been following ALVIN. I've been a great supporter of ALVIN. ALVIN, as far as, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes, as far as the job ALVIN is doing on ground in Liberia, ALVIN is really doing a good job on ground in Liberia, regardless of whatever the situation here that happened that took place in the past.
Give an example of good job. Give an example. What is he actually doing?
This man is doing such a great job.
Give an example of good job.
So the students that he is sending to school, I was even some of the supporters that actually helped to send some nursing students to school. So there is a situation that, yes, he has to do.
Our country needs our country needs infrastructures. You're talking about sending students to school?
On ground.
Tina, I'm not gonna stand here and dispute this with you.
Also make about the conviction, the federal conviction about him that is a public record. What do you make of that?
It is a public record, and this is something ALVIN is not shying away from. It is.
So in your book, do you think we should reward these people into government with their kind of past history? Do you think we should reward them into electoral seats? In your mind, do you think it's okay?
I think we should look at a man's character and not judge him by his past. I think he should be judged based upon where he decides to move forward. Like I said, he has decided to move forward and is doing a great job in Liberia as far as for the people in District 8. Yes, ALVIN has a past that he's going to account for and he's going to talk about when he feels that he's ready for. But to just sit there and just downgrade him and just say he's not doing, he's just going to be corrupt, I don't think that's a fair chance that we are giving ALVIN. He is not an angel. Yes, he has some dirt in his past that he needs to account for.
Okay,
and
thanks.
I'm aware of that.
Thanks, Martina. We'll give you enough time to say your piece.
Those are some of the things I go through. You hear that? He's sending a student to school. This man trying to lead a community, and you're talking about he's sending a student to school. He's doing a great job. Define great jobs. You see what blows my mind with Liberians? Define great jobs. How can a man develop that country? He doesn't even know how to read and write.
Again,
He doesn't even know how to pay his bills when he's in the U.S. You see what I'm saying?
Again,
That's my frustration.
Again, I engaged Mr. PENNUE yesterday. Again, publicly that he's watching right now. The opportunity is yours to come on here and say your piece, Mr. PENNUE. British Radio Africa belongs to Liberia, and Liberians, we don't take sides, and we are just here to give you the fight as it is. I want to take 2 more callers, and then Ms. SOBEN, you will give us your department statement, and then we can call this or that because I have another show coming up at 9 p.m. We have a 267 number. Hello, tell us your name.
Yes, good evening. My name is Johnson Telaway. I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Johnson, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Garley. Yeah, I've been following the show, and I just want to appreciate the sister who is the guest in your studio. And first of all, I will speak to the guy who tried to denigrate the lady, and which he claimed that he's a security-minded personnel or whatsoever the case may be. But what the sister is saying, I believe what she's saying, because I myself, I work at the prison in Jacksonville, Florida. And the information of our inmates is accessible to whether you could be a correctional officer or you could be a nurse working at the facility. They are accessible. You type in the name, it brings out the profile of the individual that you are trying to collect information about. I used to do that as well. Especially people that I know with tinted character, I try to look them up and I will see every information. So what the sister is saying, I want to believe it.
Thank you.
If she can provide that information to you, it is true.
Thank you. We already did our research and we have the information in our possession. Thank you so much. The last caller, 678. Tell us your name.
Yeah, Bridge. My name is Thomas, calling from Florida.
Is that Thomas Awaji?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, good, man. Good to have you. Thanks for having me. And I want to say thank you to the guest. I appreciate her for her voice. I'm not here to defend or make excuses. But you've had people who may have had a rough life in the United States. He paid his dues. If he decides to go home and run to serve his people, I mean, neither you nor I can tell if he's going to go and do the same thing over there.
But sir, he did not. He paid his dues.
In the States,
was that changed behaviors?
Who did some things? Let me just finish. Please. You've had other people in the States who did some things and got deported and went back home, and most of them are doing great. They're benefiting. They're contributing to society. There's a gentleman, I think he owns Hot FM, the Hot FM radio station, and I believe there were rumors that he did some things in America and got deported. He employs people in Liberia. He ran for office. He may not have won, but he's a great society. He's a great contributor to the Liberian society.
And do you
so
know,
all I'm saying is, if he may have,
speaking of that gentleman, do you know why he keep losing? Because he ran on 3 different occasions now, and he never won election.
I don't know if it's based on his character from the United States.
He was deported from the United States, even though he's doing well.
People,
but it doesn't mean that you are qualified to run for public office. You see, this is the kind of thing that we do. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
We keep making. We can't just keep doing these things and expect different results, bro. On a very serious
note. Ashford. That's exactly what I said to you at the very beginning of my statement. I'm not making excuses. I'm not defending. Okay. All I'm saying is it's a possibility that people can change. People can reform and change.
One question. I know we're almost out of time.
Sir? So what I'm saying is, I had a rough life in America, but maybe he can redeem himself. I'm not making an excuse. I'm not defending.
Okay.
It's just my comment. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, sir. So we all had a rough life in America. We all had a rough life in America. We all changed those difficult things we went through. We changed it and made it into positive. Alvin came out, he had a chance to change. You're not getting that. This man was still doing the same thing that led him in prison. He was still doing the same thing. You're not getting it. How can we reward this man because he had a difficult life in America? Are you kidding me? You go back home and let someone take your place and let Alvin run the community you're going to be in. The man is corrupt. I mean, I'm used to attack 24/7. I have a thicker skin. And the other gentleman I called, I never worked in a prison. I worked in a jail. Prison and jail is two different things. So know the difference. I was a deputy in the jail, and I did parole for 2 years. And I transitioned out, and I went and got my master's degree. Know the difference. And Miss Tina, shame on you. I know we're all friends with Ivan, but we need to speak up for our country. This is enough. This is enough. People back home are suffering. And you know damn well Ivan is not qualified. You know that. Everybody in the community know that. But no one is speaking up. If you're afraid, just say it. Just keep quiet. Don't attack me for speaking truth. Shame on you. I help lots of kids back home with education. Doesn't mean I'm qualified to go be a representative. Shame on you guys that are supporting Ivan. Ivan cannot read, write. Ivan has nothing to offer our poor people back home. Ivan couldn't even afford his medical insurance here in the U.S. People don't have medical coverage. Don't get me started. I'm so passionate about this. I get upset when I hear people trying to defend Ivan. I don't hate you, Ivan. I would never hate you. I love you like I love you. I love you like a brother. Okay, but you should not lead those people back when you're not qualified. You're not qualified. Develop yourself. Learn a trade. Do something. Open a business like that gentleman said. But don't lead poor people back home. Shame on you guys. No forgiving Ivan. There was no change behavior. Indiana, I'm ready for you guys. I'm not afraid of you guys. You know it. Like you said, I'm not in the community because you're too toxic. Your whole ability is to defend Ivan. He can never do no wrong. I'm not standing for that. I'm not standing for that. I did my time. I'm not standing for that. Sorry to you, but I'm not sorry.
Well, Ms. SOBEN, again, with that said, your final statement just before we take leave of you. We have another show coming up. In your closing statement, you have 2 minutes to close up.
Well, Mr. Ashford, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to stay focused on why I'm here. And my main focus is on the people back home. Okay, people that are going to be voting in Muscle County District 8. Look, I have absolutely nothing against this Ivan person. If you don't want to build and develop Liberia, elect Ivan. If you want another corrupt leader, go ahead and select Ivan. Ivan is corrupt. Okay, Ivan, he does not even know what infrastructure means. Economics, health system, safe drinking water. He has zero clues when it comes to those things. He will steal from people back home like he did in the U.S. And guess what? He will even kill people back home like his brother's doing right now. It's time for us to wake up and try to better our country. We're in a safe country here. We want the same thing for Liberia. I want to be able to take my kids back home where they feel safe. I want to go back home where I feel safe. That's one of the reasons why I'm speaking up. So I'm pleading to you guys back home. Wake up. Look the information online. I'm going to post all his eviction notice on my TikTok. It's SOBEN on my TikTok. I'm going to post everything on my TikTok so you can see the factual information. It's not something I can just create. Okay, so you guys need to wake up. Do not elect this man. If he wins, at least I speak up. And shame on Indiana. You call yourself Christians. 24/7 you spend time in church, but you're supporting a criminal who has nothing to offer our poor people back home. Shame on you guys. And I'm ready for you to come after me. I'm not afraid of none of you in Indiana. I was here. I've been here for many years. I have a right to protect myself. Thank you, Mr. Ashford, for having me. Wake up, Liberians back home. Wake up. Educate yourself. Tell your family members about this man. He is corrupt.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Have a good night. Good. Okay. Let me go back to Lexi Brooks Roberts. You heard a very firing young lady who's speaking out for Liberia and the people of Liberia. What was your takeaway, Ms. Roberts?
We appreciate that, we have a person such as her that can come out and tell us about prospective candidates. And that's what we need to know about. Not everybody just Google someone that they don't know. Only the person that has interest and knows their character can speak on them. Liberians do not have that privilege that we have here to Google, just like that, only because of the price of data. But I want to say thank you to TUPEE for her bravery. And there are several comments and questions, but due to time, you said there's someone else coming on. I was going to read some of them. But yeah, it's a great show, and we appreciate it. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. As we wait for the guests to come on, you can begin reading some of those comments and of course suggestions. Go ahead and do
Yeah.
just that.
Okay. We have coming from Jehovah Favor. We all live in Indianapolis, and we all know what you want. You wanted from Mr. PENNUE to do for you, and he refused. We will expose you. And then we have the same Jehovah. He says that's why you don't come out in the community, because you have bad attitude. We will expose you tonight. Thomas Awaji. So what are your reasons to disqualify him from going home to serve? Have you looked at his platform and agenda for the people? And we have the same Jehovah again. He says, we know all what you did at the place. That's why they fire you. We also have Jehovah is going in. He must be a personal friend.
And
Mr. Garley, please
yeah,
give us the opportunity to call in and provide all the truth regarding this lady lies about Mr. PENNUE. She's a bad woman and fake.
okay. Two more comments, please.
Okay.
Because I would guess I
Yes.
ready.
Let
Two more
me
comments.
find somebody else, because it seems like Favor Jehovah is the one trending here. And then we have Mom Becky last son. He says a convicted felon in the U.S. can't find a decent job easily, let alone an elected position.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Rabbits. Well, folks, if you just joining us, this is part 29 of Ashford Got It Live, and tonight we are going to play host to some Liberians who have interest in Liberia, some who are politicians, some who have talk show hosts, some who are men of men of God, and we are going to be discussing the post rally. So we have the post rally analysis, and we will also discuss the disunity among the opposition. Are they ready to work together in making George Weah a one-term president? With that said, let me introduce our first guest. His name is the Reverend Idatus Adi. Mr. Adi, hello and welcome to British Radio Africa.
Well, good evening, Mr. Garley, my friend and brother. Good evening to our well-meaning listeners. Compliments of the season.
Thank you. We also have the fearless, tough-talking Jade Rennie Doppel. Mr. Doppel, hello, welcome to the show.
Yes, Ashford, good evening to you and good evening to the rest of the guests. It's always a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity for your audience to see what we have to offer here. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, gentlemen, again, let us talk briefly about the rally from last week, uh, which was captioned, "Oh, people are tired of suffering." Uh, what do you make of the rally? What was the takeaway from that rally? As we wait for the others to join us tonight, let us begin with the Reverend Idatus Adi.
Well, thank you for that question, Mr. Garley. I think the rally was successful, consistent with our Constitution, Articles 1 and 17. Liberians reserve the right to assemble, petition the government, and exercise their democratic rights to state their dissent with their government. So, in my opinion, Liberians came together for the greater good of the country, reflecting their personal hardship on the corporate approach through the rally. So, in my opinion, I think the rally was quite successful.
Mr. Doppel?
Yeah, I think the rally just clearly indicate that the ANC and the CPP lack of strategies, lack of idea, lack of understanding how to adequately inform, address the situation facing the people. Because when you talk about we tired suffering, you got an election coming on next year. So what you need to do from that perspective is to be able to present your issue, your political party platform as to what needs to be done. You understand the problem, you try to create the awareness for the people. But the mere fact that we have had so many different elections, whether it's legislative election, presidential election, so I just think the rally was a disaster, a complete failure, because the people of Liberia are not looking at rally anymore. These things have worked in the past, but he had never been able to sustain any change in the country. So it just goes to show that the organizers are people that don't have any means to, convince the people as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Adi, Reverend Adi, what do you make of his counter that the rally was disaster? It was not good for Liberia.
Well, then unfortunately, the Liberian people who went out to demonstrate their right to petition the government, express the dissent in the policies of the government, are in fact, you're saying, disastrous. But it was very clear that they came out demonstrable of the plight that they're going through because of the policies of this administration. So for someone to say that this rally didn't have a vision or this rally was inconsistent with the plight of the Liberian people, you have to come back to say something else, because the people who turned out were expressing their dissent with a government whose policy they have yet to see and enjoy to their personal, social, economic, or educational, health-wise well-being.
Mrs. Edith Gonglu, last week we had a rally caption, "Our people are tired of suffering." And tonight we are discussing, giving analysis about the rally. What is your take? Some are saying was a disaster. Go ahead.
Let me first of all greet all of you gentlemen. I'm the lone woman here tonight.
Flip the coin today.
I hope that you guys will be gracious enough. But and Merry Christmas to you all tonight. Just in case we don't see you again until Christmas.
Same to you.
Speaking about the rally, you know, it is the constitutional right of every citizen of Liberia to assemble and express themselves to their elected officials and to their government. So I think the rally, you know, did just that constitutional fulfillment of the rights of the people to assemble and express their likes and their dislikes to their government. I don't see anything wrong with that aspect of self-expression. You know, it is the right of the people, and I think it was the appropriate thing to do, to gather and in a peaceful way. And by the way, the rally was very peaceful. It's the right of the people to gather and express themselves to their government. All the other things that follow it, I mean, the critique of it is another, you know, issue. But whether they had the right to assemble, yes, they did. And, you know, I give it to them for that.
Did the organizers accomplish what they asked for at that rally? The next day we saw the media space, the newspapers were flooded, messages were all over in Liberia. People were expressing their satisfaction about the rally and would not have the general to come in. Did you guys accomplish what you wanted at that rally? The general?
Yeah, hello to all. Hello, Sis Edith,
Yeah.
Dapo, and the Reverend and Ashford. Thanks for inviting me. Yes, as far as concerned, we accomplished what we wanted. Like Sis Edith said, it was our right, and we defied them because they tried to stop us. They play a role where they tried to sabotage the whole program, but it was okay. It was peaceful and just how we wanted. Yes, we wanted more crowd, but there were a lot of people who stayed home because some was afraid Some people try to keep their jobs, especially to work with government. We know what usually happens in Liberia, but so far it was okay. And you talk about the newspaper. I got 6 newspapers that carry a positive headlines, but I don't expect the other side to actually praise the rally. So that's their view, and I respect their view. So, but it was okay. We were satisfied with it. We wanted more, but what we got, it was perfect, fine, and very peaceful.
Mr. Dapo, you said nothing good came out of the rally, and people on the other hand are saying that, I mean, that is far from the truth.
Well, I mean, it depends on who is making the accusation here. All right. And I think Ms. Gongo said it right from the constitutional representation that we are all free to assemble at any given time. But when you have an institution that has that claim to has a vision, that claim to have a position to take over the country. And then when you look at the incoming election that is scheduled a few months from now, and then you put people on the street. Monrovia has a population of 1.1 million people. Those people who there were less than 25,000 people out there. That simply tell you that the people are not refusing to participate in any constitutional activities such as protests. But I think what the people believe in the issue of suffering does not depend on protests. People have protested so many times in our country and nothing has you. I think what the people wanted to hear is what is the ANC/CPP has in terms of making them or providing a better life for them. So they believe in the democratic process of our country. And that's why many of them stay away. Remember, Ashford, the opposition today have had success in the electoral process. Darius Dillon, for example, Samuel Taylor, for example, Porter, for example. These people came to power based on what Liberian felt was the change. So why in the heck are you bringing people out to go and protest when you know a democratic process, right? So when Mr. Weah came back to the country, he couldn't have said it better than anybody. If you want to defeat me, well, you have your constitutional right. But why don't you just wait for the election? Because the purpose of that protest was to convince people that let's go out there and show that the people are suffering. But will the protest resolve the issue? No. The election will resolve the issue. So I think the missed message here is it is not protest that will replace any politician or the president. It is the message that you will present to the people that will convince the people as they look forward to the election. And that's another missing piece of the Constitution that they cannot withstand at the moment.
Reverend Ade.
Well, what is so very inconsistent in citing the president's comments, the last time I checked over the last 12 years of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, I saw the CDC government exercise their constitutional rights consistent with Articles 1 and 17 of the Constitution. So for me to hear Mr. Dapo saying that it means nothing, I'm quite frankly surprised, because that very constitutional rights were exercised by the seditionists 12 years ago. So for us to come now and say it brings nothing and we should wait for elections, no. A famous political scientist once stated that governments can learn great lessons from the eyes of the opposition, because they bring out the plight of the people, the dissent, from which you can build policies and be able to address. I was sincerely anticipating that the president would recognize that the people who went out for that rally are also his citizens, of which he's the leader of. So for him to come back and not regard their sentiment, whether or not it was simplistically expressed as we tire suffering, it's a call to a reality that the people of Liberia who assembled at the SKD, who happens to be the citizens of President George Mane Weah, he would have addressed their plight and find time. Yes, it is politicized, but the truth of the matter is, if they were not suffering, they would not have gone on that stadium. The people who went to that rally were not all ANC people. They were Liberians first before parties. So if the greater good of the country is not viewed from that perspective, and you want to demean or diminish rather their political rights being exercised, as was demonstrated by the CDC 12 years ago, I'm a bit shocked.
Mrs. Edith Gongluwe, please unmute your device.
Reverend Ade just said it so rightly. He just took the word out of my mouth. Because the essence of a rally is not just to replace somebody. It's to send a message. You're rallying your government to tell your government, or you're protesting to tell your government that I don't like the way I've been governed. I want you to change. Or you are not providing the necessary needs or the necessary things that I as a citizen need or expect from you, my government. And so they did that. The name of the rally itself, I'm tired of suffering. So what was that? They were assembling to tell their government that there's so much hardship in the place, there's so much economic hardship, there is so much, insecurity in the country, so many missing pieces that qualifies a government as a real serious and tangible government of the people. But for me, that's not even the point. I'm not here to talk just about the rally. Let's look at this government, the scorecard of this government. That's what's important. That is the most important thing here. What caused the people to even get out? Is this government really governing the way it should, or the way that it was ushered into power to govern? Is this government meeting the health needs of the people? Is it meeting the educational needs of the citizens? Are the security needs of Liberians being met? All of these put together angers the citizens. And so for people to gather to express that anger in a peaceful way, it has to be applauded, right? Even in this country that we live in, when Donald Trump took over, nearly everywhere there were protests because people were angry, people were upset. The way President Trump handled national issues made the citizens angry. And how could they express that anger to their government? Was to protest, was to assemble in the streets and speak to their elected officials of this nation. That's the same thing. So Liberians are not different. They have done what is constitutionally allowed. If this government was governing correctly, there wouldn't be any protest. There will be more of a hallelujah choir. But if you are not doing right, people will rise up. Any good government, any well-meaning government will listen. Even if you don't correct 100% what is being asked, you will listen to your citizens. And I think this is where this government has erred by not listening to the citizens' repeated protests. Ever since President Wiak into power, it has been protest upon protest upon protest. And there is this don't care attitude of to hell with you people. You got me here and you got me here to deal with you people. I don't think it is fair to the Liberian people who stood in the sun and rain to elect this government. It's unfair to them.
The General.
Yes, and let me just, Reverend, thank you. Sis Edith, I think when you lost the election that you lost in Nimba County, I think it's a blessing because I enjoy to see patriots running for office than people who pretend to be patriots. When they're in charge, they're only concerned about themselves. They talk about the rally. It was not a protest. I want to clarify. It was a rally. We're not in the street marching all over the place. We gather into a place. What we wanted is what we gave the people. But my brother said it was less than 25,000, but the SKD stadium take less than 35,000 people. If you are on the stadium, because of the chairs they put in there now, it takes less than 25,000 if it's filled to capacity. That means you did good because the other network said 300. Some people said 2,005. But you don't have anything to measure to say, I check everyone that went to that protest to just give a numbers. So my brother, we got nothing. The people of Liberia know that CDC is in the ICU already. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that this government has failed the people of Liberia. The most popular, the number one popular citizen of Liberia, George Manning Weah, peace ambassador, cannot even bring Liberians together. We are divided. He only look at seditions as citizens. He remind me of Donald Trump. When Donald Trump go to his supporters, he don't care. That's the only citizen of America. That's the same thing happened to President Weah. That is why he will insult his opponent and call them names and do not tell us what he brought in. He came with $0 after 49 days. But I see Liberians yelling him, putting him in the air. Oh, the king has come, the king has come. That's good. But the Liberian people, their eyes are open. 2023, the real protest will be at the ballot box. So when we get to the other topic, I will let you know. But the protest was successful. I don't want to even talk about it. It was successful. That is how we wanted it. And there were a lot of people who kept back. And some of the opposition was there. But let me tell you something. I want to show you a picture here right now. There's a picture here of a UP supporters. This guy, he's a UP, a very strong supporter of Joseph Boakai. He was at that protest. He was there in his uniform. You see? So nobody should say, oh, I don't expect sedition to go there. I don't expect Moluba Molu to drive there. They told us they're going to put 1 million people outside when Joria arrived. But they pay people to go there, so that's their problem. But we know they don't have it. They never went over 38% before, and they will never reach 38% because they already gone down. So they shouldn't fool nobody. They shouldn't come and make fun out of us.
Ashford TUPEE, hello and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. How you all doing?
Better than good.
Wonderful to see your lady. How is she doing?
She's doing great.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I guess can you just restate the question just so because I see a diversity of
we are discussing we're giving analysis from the rally, the post, we're doing post rally analysis. Secondly, we're also talking about the disunity among the opposition. There were people who got on radio, got on the social media, were telling people not to go to the rally. When in fact this rally was meant for the entire country.
Right. So with regards to those who were saying people shouldn't go, there's a level of insecurity. People felt others in the opposition that because the CPP initiated a rally, so that means Mr. Cummings is the face of the rally, is all about him. But they had a wrong perspective or wrong perception of what the rally was about. Hopefully going forward, they can understand anything that comes in the best interest of the Liberian people should be something the opposition rallies around. Anything that holds the government feet to the fire is what the opposition should come together and say, yes, we need to do this to make sure this works. Anything that talks about collaboration on elections, collaboration on ensuring nonviolence, collaboration on teaching our people some civics, collaboration on protecting the votes, collaboration on the census, as miserable as that whole process has been. So the opposition needs to really step back. Both, the CPP folks, the United Party folks, and the Tewan Gonglo people, they are the, in my mind, the three primary opposition, even though when you look at the whole thing in terms of competition, you look at three primary candidates, which is Cummings, Boakai, and Weah. So for the opposition to stand together, competition is fair in the opposition. Nobody should stop, the pursuit of ambition by any of these people in the opposition. Last year, how many candidates? 2017, how many candidates? 21?
22.
So if we're focusing, 22, right? So if we're focusing on 4 or 5 candidates today in the opposition, should that mean that the opposition is disjointed? It's a fallacy. It's a label that's being placed on the opposition because of the insecurity of the government. There is nowhere where you got one opposition party or one opposition. Even if you build a collaboration within the opposition, there will be other candidates who want to be president and who will run. So Boakai is okay for him to have his ambition to be president. It's okay for Cummings. But the common things that I just mentioned earlier are things that the people within those parties should try to come together and have a united front on ensuring democracy, ensuring fair elections, ensuring the process, the schedule of the NEC really aligns with having a successful election, from the biometric voter registration, which the NEC is really not supposed to be doing. They are supposed to be having those conversations about the National Identification Registry really organizing and doing the biometrics and then getting the data from them and utilizing it based on where people are located to determine, districts and stuff like that. And we know already the census is going to be like not credible. So to what extent would the NEC use the census information to make decisions for the rest of the country? Those are things that the opposition need to get together on. Not necessarily, let's have a ticket. The only way the opposition can be recognized is let's have a ticket with boycott number 1 or comments number 2 or comments number 1, boycott number 2. No, that's not opposition. That's not democracy. With regards to the rally itself, the success was achieved. We look at rallies here, 10, 15 persons outside demonstrating, make a point. When we were demonstrating against Charles Taylor, for Charles Taylor to leave, going down to the park in DC every day, going down to the White House, going to the Capitol building, we didn't have to be 100 people. We're not even 35 total that were consistently going. But we made an impact. We're right there demonstrating at the White House the day that George Bush announced, I think it was August 8th or something, that Charles Taylor should leave the country. We're there. So the point has been made. People out there understand what a protest is. Significant number of people came up. Do you know how many people fear the retribution if they go out and demonstrate that they're against this government? People feel their lives are threatened. People feel very insecure in expressing the democratic franchise. So in my opinion, the rally was very successful. But to see the return of George Weah and the citizens then fit in a small space, okay, in our church first, and then when they went to the party headquarters, for them to have a whole portion where the sign was showing. When I was a sedition, when we come out, the sign I show you, the yard park, the outside in the street is packed. So for them to try to make that, like he said 1 million people. They didn't even get 5,000 people, I won't say, show up to welcome George Weah. So definitely, this government is struggling so much, and they need to do much better if they want to have any chance in 2023.
Well, folks, I'm going to go around the room one more time. We have less than 30 minutes to go on the show tonight, and we'll be very straight going forward with the timing. Okay. I will give the four of you 2 minutes, and I will give him 3 minutes because he's the other two seditions for some reason didn't show up tonight. So he will have 3 minutes, and you people will have 2 minutes, just to be fair, because you are for the rally and he's against. The Reverend.
There's a sedition on this panel. Let me ask you, is there a sedition on this panel?
Yeah, Jay Renan Dapo. 1 minute you're sedition, another minute you're
No. I thought that is very disingenuous on your part. I'm not dead. I'm still alive. All right, I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Corrected.
Yeah. So there's nowhere. You see, we Liberians, when we sat on the platform here, we got to be very, very disciplined in how we disseminate information. There's never a time that I announced that I am a sedition. All right. All right. Since I led the ANC camp, I said that I am an independent Liberian for a better Liberia. And there were many Liberians struggle because our country is based on 2 ways. You're either for or you're against. My goal here is to create an independent mind. But when you create an independent mind, people tend to look at you. When you support communists today, they heal you. You support Joe Weah today, they heal you. But when you kind of middle to criticize them, they don't like you.
You know what?
We live in America here.
Sometimes you can be confusing,
Yeah, I'm confusing because people don't understand what I'm trying to achieve. In America here, when you talk about independent, people don't get confused. People are Democrat, people are Republican. In Liberia, tell me which organization considers themselves to be independent. There's no independent organization in Liberia. So when you introduce something new, it brings
guys, time. Let's get to the meat of the discussion.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to clear the air. Yes.
Renan say he's not a member of CDC. I know he was once member of CDC.
Exactly.
He resigned, and then he became. I saw him around the ANC people.
Yeah, I was. Yes, I was.
And now he's against it. He's independent now. Thanks for correcting me.
Thank you very much.
Let me go to the Reverend Idatu side. We didn't see a lot of opposition leaders at the rally. As a matter of fact, people showed up at the rally with Cummins' T-shirt on, with Cummins' picture on the. I didn't see Councilor Gonglo. I didn't see Boycott. I didn't see the Yomdi Kankai and Yuri and them. Is there a disconnect among the opposition leaders? Will you please unmute your phone?
Well, I don't know if there is a disconnect, but certainly it might be a lack of conversation between the multiple candidates in the race to come together on a greater good in expression of a plight that they want their government to resolve. People wearing Mr. Cummings' t-shirts. I personally didn't have a problem with that. I saw other people without Mr. Cummings' t-shirts representing the greater good of the country in the context of their government not meeting their well-being. So that being said, if there is a disconnect, they need to have conversations regarding unity of a united front. There needs to be conversation around the common and greater good of Liberia and its people. So yes, one could surmise that perhaps that lack of solidarity in that context may indicate that they are not talking to one another.
Thank you. Now we'll go to Mr. Dapo for his 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah, there's a disconnect within the opposition. All right.
Thank
One, as far as the Unity Party goes, people in Liberia feel that their age is the reason why they should maintain power. And then if you see the new party on the block, the ANC, they feel that they know it all and there should be no reason to compromise some of their ego. So with the two things, it stands no chance to succeed. And one of the reasons why the party rally, the ANC rally, was a failure in this country, Ms. Gonglo mentioned that they are rally here. These rally are now organized and sponsored and represented by political institutions. They are civil society group, for example, Black Lives Matter, carry on the protest. The reason the ANC protest was very poorly attended is because it was a political rally that came from the ANC. And that just goes to show that the members that show up are nobody else but the ANC. And that would make that a disaster. If that was coming from the civil society group, where you have independent groups say we tired suffering, you will see a diversity of Liberians participating in that protest. So the protest is a disaster, but you guys are not willing to accept that because they represent exactly what that protest was all about. The president came to the country and said, if you guys want to defeat me, go to the ballot box. There was nothing about discrimination or going against any political leader. He stated it and he did it. Now, lastly, I'm not here to support the CDC. I'm not here to support any political party. I'm just here to define what is wrong in our society. I'm here to define and inform what Liberians need to understand. Their right to know is their right to understand. And people will struggle with this thing because our democracy, since President Tubman got elected, since Ellen became president and left, we have gone 17 years into our democratic process. It is still illiterate, and we have to educate our people from a non-political standpoint. That will create a transparent equity and equality in what we do. Back to you. Thank you.
Mrs. Gonglo.
Okay, thank you so much. And for the record, let me also state here tonight that Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo is one of the major contenders in this election. Having said that, because I heard Dapo talking as though there's only two opposition leaders in Liberia, Councillor Tiawonse Gonglo is very clear, and he is in this election, and the whole country knows about that. Having said that, let's look at the rally. For me, like I said earlier, it was a constitutional right of the people to assemble. The problem with the rally, the name itself, Retire Suffering. I thought that was a beautiful name. That should have made it a neutral group. Retire Suffering referred to the entire country, the Liberians in general. But then in the end, it turned out to be a purely, marked Cummings rally. And I think by that, it sort of undercut the intent and, the strength of the rally itself. It made it look more like a political, campaign, a political rally to sell an individual. And I thought that alone sort of undermined the essence of the rally. Take, for instance, the t-shirts that the people were wearing. In my mind, if they had, some little suffering girl or some pregnant woman who is in dire need of health care and is struggling, you have that kind of picture depicting the problems that the citizens are facing, and you say, we Liberians are tired of suffering. It would have been a rally that would attract so many people. But now what that rally did was to alienate others, because there are a lot of Liberians who are not supporters of ANC, who don't believe in the causes of Mr. Cummings, for instance, and have their political parties that fell alienated and said, well, we all suffering, but it looks like it's just ANC, a match. This is about ANC people who are suffering. So I thought that the planners would have done a lot better to raise, the bar of the problems that the people are going through in Liberia, but neutralizing that. The name was beautiful. I thought that was a great name. Whoever picked that name did very well. Retire Suffering was all inclusive. It was about every Liberian, regardless of what counted, regardless of what age, what demographic you belong to. You're Liberian first, and you're suffering. That would have even attracted some seditions. Who know? There are citizens who are suffering. But once you started to, narrow it down to party, then it kind of undercut the intent of the rally, in my mind.
General, the name, we're tired of a beautiful name, according to Mrs. Gunglo, where at the end, it changed. It became a ANC rally.
Okay. And as for the first thing, I want to correct my brother. The Tea Party that demonstrated against Barack Obama was Republicans, all Republicans. It was not no other different group. So I just want you to correct that. Now, from the first day that the team Cummings announced the name Retire Suffering, the following day it was criticized by all the other oppositions. It was clear on the radio from the cluster. Everybody said, oh no, we're not going there to promote Mr. Cummings. But the group sent an announcement out. They said, bring your T-shirts. What are you from? Liberty Party? You from ALP? You from whatsoever? We will print on the T-shirt, and they gave the areas where to print the T-shirt. There were T-shirts there that said, Retire Suffering with no Mr. Cummings picture on it. In fact, Mr. Cummings had one on. Other people had it on. There was T-shirt that ANC printed. Liberty, ALP. Sano Johnson went there. He supported. He said, "Oh, I stopped to my political leader and told him that I'm coming to this meeting." Some other people came from UPP, United People's Party. Now, when you saw the Cummings T-shirt, people saw the Cummings T-shirt on the day of the protest. Why would you want to complain about Cummings T-shirt on the day when you already criticized the protest? You already condemned the protest. They said the name was good. Everything was fine. I had I was in a meeting with Tier 1 Gonglo, Councillor Gonglo, who I've been knowing for so long. He said, the protests, yes, it's okay, but the face of the protest, and Louis Brown, and then I asked him, I said, don't rush. You and Louis Brown served Ellen for 12 years, but you and Louis Brown served Ellen, and Ellen was one of those on record concerning the war, but you supported her. So what is the face about Louis Brown? In Trenton, that's what he said. Now, they criticized the rally. They said the rally was good, but they're going to promote Mr. Cummings. The rally was good, but nobody made an attempt to say, listen, I support this rally, but I'm not going over there because of Ellis Cummings, because the platform was for every political party. That was the beginning of unity among the political parties. Because if you were to go there with your ALP T-shirt and get on the back, I'm tired of suffering, and everybody hold hands and everybody speak, that's it. But they refused to go. They saw the Cummings T-shirt on the day. So why would you say that, oh, you see, they make it about Cummings? That's a weak argument. The argument is totally weak. From the day we announced it, everybody from the opposition bloc, especially the UP, criticized it. We're not going there. We're not going to make Mr. Cummings famous and whatsoever. So ANC went there. They had another T-shirt with CPP and Tire Suffering on it. Mr. Cummings had on the Tire Suffering with the lady crying and the flag. Other people had it. So if you say it was about ANC, fine, we accept it because you show up. But I know I just show you a picture of a UP guy with Tire Suffering and United People with Unity Party T-shirt. And this guy is a strong supporter of Mr. Cummings, Maya Jackson, and I'm sorry, for Joseph Boakai. So I do not expect the other side to say anything good about this protest.
Thank
the
you, General.
protest, I'm sorry, Rally, it was successful and we are satisfied. We even needed more, but we are okay with it.
Thank you,
And I
General.
think we can pass by that.
Vatupa, just before you come in,
Yes.
folks, I want to say thanks for tuning in tonight. Help support the platform. We are for Liberia and the people of Liberia. And just know that we are not supporting any particular political party. And whoever wants to come on, whether you're from the CDC, the Unity Party, the ANC, the Gonglo Camp, this is your platform. This platform belongs to Liberia and belongs to the people of Liberia. The cash app is 267-2485-295. I want to say thank you to Jonathan Gate for your contribution. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Tupa. You got it. 2 minutes.
Go ahead. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see my screen. This is the official team for Tire Suffering Rally. So thanks that Mrs. Gonglo was clear about what the expectations were. And to speak to Monia's point, how can anybody determine that the rally coming was the face of the rally? The rally was open to all political parties, all Liberians, all civil societies, all churches, everybody come. Destination locations were given for people to come and either get t-shirts or get the t-shirts marked or printed properly. Now, as we all know, different auxiliaries exist in different political parties. And those auxiliaries in the ANC, they were wearing, Mr. Cummings t-shirt with, at last, at the end, like he said, they went over to the CPP location and they got the CPP, sticker on it. So for anybody to think about or making it, just a Cummings thing, I think that's totally wrong. Again, we can continue to have different perspectives on the rally, but nobody can say the turnout for the rally was not successful. That was Saturday. That was a business day. The first thing the government started threatening. From the time Louis Brown mentioned the rally, the government was threatening. He went to the radio station, talked to hooligans sponsored by this CDC government, went there and tried to attack him, if not attack him, and attack other people that were there. The chief of staff of the army, he came out and threatened people. Other people in this government threatened people. Political parties came out, denigrated the rally, made it very personal for people not to come out. In all those constraints, a huge number of people came out. If you listen to the program, you will hear the different organizations that were there, the different organizations that were committed to supporting the effort. So the rally was very successful. Let's get that clear. And let's try to focus on how things can get better in the opposition in terms of collaboration. But there is nothing that says we must be on one ticket for us to work together. No, that doesn't have to be it. Mr. Gonglo has the right to run. Mr. Cummings has the right. Joseph Boyka has the right to compete. Let's compete fairly. And the thing is, Liberians have to decide, in general, do they see the future of Liberia with George Weah and this current government that is tearing down every basic governance principle, stealing everything in sight, mortgaging our country to anybody who wants to take and going just into nefarious deals, disrespecting the international community, using international community resources, cutting people's salary. Look at the Minister of Information today. My own friend who I've been upset with because of the stupid position he took when I had that situation in Liberia. The people were chasing to kill me. He came and said I was at the border when he didn't have the information. So he's an uninformed Minister of Information. But today he's crying that he can get audience with his own president who he's working for. So it just shows you how leadership has deteriorated, management has deteriorated in this country, and George Weah is taking the country in the wrong direction. He's a superstar in terms of having represented us on a football field. We expected him to be the vehicle through which change can come.
Actually, he has taken the country on the wrong side. Not even he's taking. He has.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thanks for that correction. So Liberian people have to wake up. Do they want that to continue, and be pretending? Look at the citizens who are over there saying they were cheering for Weah. Most of them look hungry. Most of them are wearing slippers. Their lives have not improved over the 5 years that he's been president.
But then find a solution, don't put people on the street because protest has shown time in time
Don't
that
cut
it
the
doesn't
bill.
succeed.
Randy, you should be the last one to say that. We are seditions. We are the creator of a protest in our country. We are
Yeah.
the ones who
They're
allow
the
people.
But it
masterminds
did
of
not
protest.
sustain anything, man.
Hold on, Randy, hold on. Stop being disingenuous. Because you know you're not honest where you are right now.
I am.
You're not satisfied with
Ashford,
yourself.
take care of
That's
your
your
own
own
business without
expression.
giving nobody
Your
chance
own
to talk.
That's your
conscience
own
is not there
expression.
with you, Randy. I know you, Randy. I know you well enough.
That's your
The
own expression.
anger fueling you right now.
That's your
You're not
own
a real
expression.
Randy. You are
Okay.
not a real Randy Depot.
Thank you,
So let
Mr.
me just
Tupac.
finish right now. Let me just
Yeah,
finish.
Go ahead.
Sir.
That's your own
Sir,
expression.
let me just complete.
Stop the back and forth, please. Go ahead. Now, 1 minute.
Let me just complete. 1 minute. So all I'm trying to say is, Liberian people, the decision is there, right? They can either decide they want to continue with George Weah, or they want to select one of those 3 primary contenders in the opposition. That's the choice. Who is the better leadership potential? Somebody in the opposition or this government administration? And with the opposition, especially for Mr. Cummings, he needs to encourage our people. He needs to get to them. Any small area where 5, 6 person are, he doesn't need crowd. Everybody in the country knows Mr. Cummings already. He doesn't need crowd. He just needs to engage people and look them in the eyes and be personal with them. Is your life better today? Oh yeah, then vote for my man Joey. But if your life not better, I am the one who can change this economic downturn we are in.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashik. Well, folks, if you just joining us, this is Ashford Garley Live. And of course,
Have a nice campaign.
we come your way Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. This Friday is the political soccer game. And I'll be looking forward to see all of you on the field. Closing statements from all of you.
So let me ask you, would that be a year in review?
No, that's just the political soccer game.
Okay. Oh no, I'll practice. I'll actually practicing my commentary today. I'm ready for that game on Friday.
Okay. Listen, folks, I want to go around the room now. 1 minute each. We are closing statement, and then we can call this a night. We believe in time here, and when we say we will leave at 10 o'clock, we will leave at 10 o'clock. I believe the next time we'll give you a full 90 minutes, but we had a previous show, and the Reverend, that was either 1 minute, please.
Thank you. So the last time I checked, many of us living in this current country today are here because of the advocacy of men like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, among others who pressured their governments, in which President Kennedy proposed the Civil Rights Act that was signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1964. Those people braved the dogs, the water hoses, they petitioned their governments. Today, you and I can stand, live in America, and enjoy equal rights and opportunities as Black people. It is the right of Liberians to advocate beyond partisanship regarding the greater good of their well-being, the greater good of their country. And until we can come together as one people to petition our government consistent with our Constitution of Articles 1 and 17, Liberia will always remain where it is.
Thank you.
Now, yes, maybe have our all of us have our political leanings, but if Joseph Boyka decides to come up today to initiate a rally that happens to do with the greater good of the people,
thank you, Mr.
I will support him as well. Thank you.
Dapo, 1 minute, please.
Yes, the protest became a disaster because the current institution, the ANC, has no strategy to convince the people. They think that going back to the old days will persuade anyone, but it has shown that they are not ready to lead in the country. And I'm not saying it because I support George Weah. I just think the party infrastructure and the party mission is a total failure, and they need to re-engineer their strategy. Secondly, the disunity among them is not going to show any sign. Mr. Cummings is not ready for any primary. Walker is not ready for any primary. Lastly, the Tea Party was a movement within the Republican Party. They went against the Republican infrastructure. Whenever the people try to do that in any institution, Cummings is the man. Cummings is the man. Nobody can take anything against Mr. Cummings. Madam Ware, I know Teo Gonglo is running, but I don't see him being part of the big ticket. And he would try. He would be like you get a D-Ware trophy. Just to say
that's your perception, and you are entitled to that.
It's the reality.
Thank you, Mr.
No, it's your perception, it's your view. You are entitled to that.
Next year around the time,
God will bless us. Let's around the time. Now, Madam Ware, you have the floor. The 1 minute, please.
Thank you. I just want to say here tonight that For me, it's not even about the rallies, the crowd size, or who came out and who did not come out. What is important is when we look at our country today, is this country going in the right direction? Are our people being correctly led? Are their needs being met? Is our nation meeting the standard of a real nationhood? These are the things for me that are very, very critical. And those are the things that the opposition political parties need to be looking at. It's not about who has more crowd. It's not even about who's going to be last and who's going to be first at this particular time. Like I said to my brother, time will tell. Sometimes, we said the weakest link, what you consider to be the underdog, can end up being the dark horse. So yes, take Councillor Gonglo for a ride all you want. What I do know is that he has very great plan for this country, for Liberia to really make any leap of change. You need a leader who is strong on rule of law, who is strong on fighting corruption, because these are the two things that have derailed our country to the extent that it is today and has become a laughingstock for the rest of the world. We need a leader who has the track record and the history for fighting corruption and being clean himself, and also promoting the rule of law. Every citizen of Liberia must operate and be under the ambit of the law. We need a leader who upholds that, not a leader who will have, who's bribing all over the place and using the country's purse to do whatever they want and breaking their houses down and rebuilding and all that. We need to change this narrative. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your 1 minute, General.
Okay, I want to say this. Since 2017, when I put my face on Facebook for Mr. Cummings, I have never changed. When they tell you you're political hopo, that means you jump from one party to another party. But let me say this today. We have 5 flaws Liberians who want to run for president. It is their right to run. They are not perfect. They might be honest. But President Weah is out of it because he disgraced. He has disgraced and the most corrupt government in our history is under the Weah government. George Weah came to power broke, but today, in 48 months, most of his people around are turned to be millionaires. But this is what Liberians are looking for. Yes, they say, government experience have not taken off nowhere. We are looking for a man who will jumpstart the economy. Once you get a good economy, you will get a better security, you will get a better education, better agriculture, better infrastructure. Everything will be perfect. And you will get a government that will be friendly with business people, that business people come and create, that will bring jobs to this country. So we're looking for someone to jumpstart, and only one person with the experience who work in that field, who has the experience, the contact is no other person but Alex Cummings. Liberia voted for change and will continue with change. If we don't want George Weah, we cannot take UPEE. Tier 1 there, yes, the competition is there. We love competition. Mr. Cummings love competition. But if we cannot keep George Weah, we can't keep UPEE because the two parties, they are disaster, and we cannot allow them to take state power anymore.
Thank you so much. 1 minute, Mr. TUPEE.
Yeah, thank you. I think the panelists have said most of it. I just wish my GM brother Randy would wake up, let his bitterness or anger dissipate and be able to be an honest Liberian and look at these things objectively. He wants to be in the middle, that's fine. That's a position you can be in. But he should be objective with these things and not try to necessarily denigrate Mr. Queens or the NC because he has a lot to offer. With regards to where we are today as a country, we really need to educate our people. I'm very excited that you, Ashford, you are back on the media airwaves, in the virtual space. Hopefully you can get on the radio in Liberia soon, because you have a wonderful ability to communicate with the people and to be not necessarily biased, but to take principled positions on these issues. So I just wish you success in this new revival, and that we can all really care more about Liberia than our personal aggrandizement, our personal agendas, or just follow based on a political party perspective. I think it's very clear, and most Liberians agree with me that George Weah has failed. We thought he was going to be the vehicle to move this country. He failed, absolutely failed. I mean, I'm looking at a year in review in the prior 4 years before that, and it's dismal. What has happened compared to what was expected to happen is a dismal failure. And I just hope we can wake up. I just hope we can communicate with our people, and we can become to move to be a better country.
Ashford, please. Ashford, please.
Sorry, time is up. I'm so sorry.
I just want to make that correction, but mentioning Unity Party, I think I when we're talking about opposition speaking with one voice, we can't be attacking one another. I don't think it was right.
I agree with that.
Unity Party,
Especially
when there's no Unity Party person on here.
Thanks, guys.
We don't have to be like other people.
The people are divided. The people are divided.
We can do this again. We can do this again next week. Thanks, guys.
Opposition and not one party. We are different.
You're attacking Unity Party. So who your opposition now?
Thanks for coming, guys.
That question goes to Unity Party. Unity Party need to answer that question because they were flooding the airways to and stuff.
Well, folks, that's all the time we'll have to be with you tonight. And Lexi Brooks Roberts.
Yes.
Closing statement.
Hi. Thank you, Mr. Garley. Great show on both ends. I just want to say the opposition missed an opportunity. Instead of looking at just Cummings and always getting upset when Cummings is in the lead or has the leading idea, what they should have done is come together to show that this president is not popular. He's misusing the country's resources and going away for 50 days. Everyone should have been outside upset. And that's an opportunity missed. So you can fight among yourselves all you want, but you're missing the main point. George Weah has to go.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Don't
Good
forget
night.
to support Bridge Radio Africa.
That's right.
.com. Our Zelle is up there as we're not the biggest platform and we're not trying to be. We want to be the most popular and most user-friendly platform. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, folks, that's all the time I have to be with you. God willing, we'll be back this Friday with another tough political soccer match. Until then, mesdames, messieurs, je vous dis bonjour. Merci pour votre contribution. Et puis, merci pour votre invitation. Yours truly. Father God, we give you praise, we give you honor, we magnify your name. Thanks for the strength. We owe you debt of gratitude. This has been yours truly, the brother who doesn't eat iron, but he's definitely stronger than a lion. The medicine of the microphone, the golden voice of Liberia. The mastermind, the doctor of law, Africa's media doobie-doo extraordinaire. Ashford the giant, and now you know me, Garley. See you this Friday on the Political Soccer page. Good night.